right, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining Amy's paper crafting party. I really appreciate it. Now I'm going to show you how to take one piece of pattern paper, cut it up based on a template, and make anywhere from 10 to 12 cards. So it's really going to depend on the template that you're using, and we're going to throw in some cardstock that coordinates, and I'm going to show you how to do this with using one ink and one stamp set. All right, so let's flip you down to the table. So give me just a second. Let me do this. I got to hit a couple of buttons here. A to A. I'm going to go. Okay, perfect. That way you can see me and I can talk to y'all. So what we're going to do now, Stampin' Up! Is very is well known for producing pattern paper that is colorful, good quality, and also is it coordinates with their cardstock, inks, and all of that. So when you purchase a pack of paper, for instance, this is a pack. It comes with 12 sheets, and there's 2 each of 6 designs. Now on the back of the paper, it will tell you what colors will coordinate with this pack of paper. So it makes it very easy. I call it dummy proof. That way you don't have to think about it. It tells you what to do. So I'm going to bring in some of the coordinating paper, and then I showed you earlier how to make how to cut your cardstock. So in this case, this paper is using what we call blackberry or rich raspberry. And if you'll notice, one thing about Stampin' Up! Is all of their colors have the same first letters that start with the first letter. So rich raspberry, we have granny apple green, and then we have shaded spruce. So if I go to my cardstock, this is our rich raspberry, and that coordinates. This is our granny apple green, and that coordinates. And then here is some of our shaded spruce, and see how that coordinates as well. So it's very easy. So what we're going to do now, I went ahead and cut these down, and as I showed you earlier, you can cut your cardstock and get 2 pieces out of one 8.5 by 11. You'll get 2 card bases. So this one is where you fold it at, it's cut at 4 1/4. It's 11 inches long, and then we're going to score it, which I already did. I put a score mark, and I showed you that, or I'll show you how you do that in just a minute. And then you're going to take a bone folder, and you're going to give your cardstock a really nice crease. And what this does is it helps open the card. Now, or helps it stay flat. So when you're making greeting cards, you can take this piece and you can either have it open like this, or you can turn it sideways and have it open like that, so like a book. Now this one, this is granny apple green. This is 8.5 by 4.5, and then we scored it 4 1/4, and that means putting that little crease there that helps us to fold it. And I always fold it, and then I make sure it's lined up, and then I take my bone folder and I just run it along the edges to make sure it's crisp and a nice crisp crease. So now this one, you can open it like a book, right? Or you can open it from bottom to top, okay? So that's how we're gonna do our cardstocks. So I'm gonna go ahead and fold all of these really quick, which I should have done that before we got on the thing, but that's all right. I'll fold these real quick, and then we'll get into cutting our paper. And I did, I'm not sure how many of these we're going to be using, but I want to cut the paper, and then I'm going to show you how we put these together, and then that will help you if you're just starting out, or even if you're an experienced stamper. This is the one sheet, well, these are called one sheet wonders, or we also refer to it as OSW. And it's just a great way that you can make a bunch of cards quickly and without a whole lot of mess. Now you can make these really involved if you want to, but the whole idea is to do them quick, and they look pretty, and you know, you don't know any different. So there you go. All right, and then we're going to put a couple of card bases in here. So let's go ahead and fold these real quick, and we'll do that. That way we've got a variety of, I wanted to show you a variety of card bases. Okay, so there's that. So let's put this off to the side for a minute. And I've got some extra pieces here in case we need those. And then I went ahead and cut these, and I'll show you these in just a moment. But let's bring in our paper trimmer. So you need to have a paper trimmer, and we sell these through Stampin' Up! And you can purchase this in my online store. This is the perfect trimmer that you would need if you're going to do any kind of paper crafting, even scrapbooking. We have a large base here, and the arm opens up to 17 inches. So if you're a scrapbooker, you'll see our paper goes 12 by 12. So you still have a few inches here that you can work with, okay? So I'm going to push that back down just for a moment. Now on our trimmer, it goes, each of these little blocks, you have centimeters at the top right up here. And then down here where you see the 1, 2, 3, 4, those are inches. And then every block you see are 1/4 of an inch. Now the nice thing about our trimmer is that on the right side, this moves over to 1 3/4. So you have 1 inch there. Let me move the camera in just a second. All right, so you have the 1 inch there. Do you see that? Let me see if I can get in there. The 1 inch, and then this little line right here would be the 4th one over is 1 1/2. And if you back it up 2, that's 1 1/4. Okay. Now these are $25, and you can purchase this in my online store. All right, so we're going to bring our pattern paper in, and the one thing nice I didn't show you is Stampin' Up's paper is double-sided. So you have 2 different sides that you can use depending on what you want to create. Now, if you have a pattern, you do want to be careful when you're cutting, because that's going to determine which direction your paper is going to go. In this case, it's not that bad because these are blackberries, so I don't think it's that bad. But we're just going to cut all of these. Now, since this is 12 by 12, I'm going to cut 4 inches, right? So I can get 3 4-inch strips out of this piece of paper. And then we're going to turn it, and we're going to cut them at 3 inches. So the designer paper pieces are going to be 3 by 4, okay? So I'm going to line this up at our 4-inch mark, and I want to make sure it's straight down at the bottom. So we do have a bottom mark as well. And you have a header up here, which is something that you really want to use because it keeps your paper butted up to the top, and it keeps it from moving. All right, so we're going to push this down. Now, this one, the darker one, is your cutting blade, and then this one here is a scoring blade. This is the one that you would use to score the crease in your cardstock when you want to have it folded. Okay, so we're going to cut this at 4 inches, and we're going to take this out and put this off to the side. And then we're going to cut this once again at 4 inches. Now we can cut all of these at one time, but I'll just do one at a time, and then the next 2 we'll do together, okay? So now I'm going to turn it, right? So this is 4 inches. Now we're going to take this and line it up at the 3-inch mark. All right, so we've got it at 3 inches, and then I'm going to pull this down and cut. See how easy that is? So now we're going to get 4 of these. So we'll have a 3-inch mark there. And then we'll have 3-inch. We're going to cut this at 3 inches here. So we've got 4 of these. So there's 4. So actually, we're going to be able to make 12 cards, okay? So since these are all the same size and I'm cutting them all the same, we're going to go ahead and cut these up. I'm just going to place them together and cut them. I just want to make sure I got my directions going in the right way, which we do. All right, so I'm going to line these up, hold them tight together. And then I'm going to butt them up against this backdrop thing right here. And we're going to line it up at 3 inches. So we're going to line it up at 3. Push down this plate, and you're holding it. And then we're going to cut. So there's 2 more. And then we're going to slide this over to 3 inches. Cut. And then we'll do 1 more cut of 3 inches. And then we're going to cut that. All right, so now we have all of our paper cut that we need. And we can put our trimmer away, and since I've already got our cardstock ready, so we'll just set that off to the side. Now the stamp set that I would recommend if you're looking to purchase something and you're just starting out, this is a great stamp set because it has all sorts of sentiments that would come in really handy. So this one you have, you've got, this is a great, you know, it's got all these thought, congratulations, thank you, thinking of you, happy birthday, and then 2 larger ones that I think are would be perfect. Now, just to let you know, this little symbol right here means that once you hit $1 million in sales, Stampin' Up! Allows you to come in and you get to help design a stamp set. So each demonstrator, if you see the gold $1 million thing, means that they've hit that the $1 million mark, and they get to create this. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull in a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and I'm going to leave it like this where it opens like a book, okay? Now I did cut some various pieces. So let's pull in one of our, now these I cut because you have layers, right? You have a layering when you want to, now you don't have to layer. We could put this on the card just like that, and that would be fine, right? But I want to add a little bit of color. So you always, when you're doing your layering, you always want to cut everything down 1/4 of an inch. Now, see, you didn't realize when you went to school that you're going to have to know math, right? Because math is a big part of stamping. Okay, so when you layer it, this is going to go in the center, right? And it's going to give it a little bit of a border, like 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Now, see how that kind of dresses up the card? Now, so I can do my card like that, or since my berries are hanging and it really doesn't matter, I can turn it like this. So either way, you know, whichever way. So we can set it like that, or we can have it like this, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and attach the designer paper to our cardstock, and we're gonna turn this over on the other side piece. We're gonna turn a couple of them over. Now this is our liquid Tombow glue that I told you about. This glue is really good to use. First, I didn't like it. I just don't like to get my fingers because it sticks to your fingers, and I don't care for that. So we're going to go ahead and line that up right there. All right, so we've got that one done, and then we'll do another one. I'm only going to show you a couple because I don't want to hold you up too much. Now, since this one coordinates, I'm going to go ahead and flip this one over, and I'm going to put this one on the back of the raspberry. I hate to cover up that pretty paper, but I want you to be able to see the difference. And then I'm going to, so we'll do this. We'll attach all of these, and then I'll come back after putting these cards together and show you what I've done. So, all right, now we're going to pull in a Granny Apple Green. All right, so we're going to do that. And I'm going to go ahead and ink up this side. So you see how easy it is. And this is really great if you're doing like Christmas cards, or you want to do a bunch of birthday cards. You make them in advance, and then you have them ready to send out. Now, isn't that beautiful? I love this Granny Apple Green. That's just beautiful. Isn't that pretty? Look at that. All right, so that's the Granny Apple. Now, let's pull in our shaded spruce, and we're going to use one of those, which we did here as well. Now, I can pull that over. That wouldn't look bad because, you know, Stampin' Up! Shows that it's coordinating, but I want to leave it like that because that really pulls in the color from the front of these beautiful raspberries. So I want to, probably most of these cards will have the raspberry paper, which I just think is absolutely pretty. Okay, so we're going to lay that right there. Now this paper you can get for free during January and February. When you purchase $50 in product, you will be able to choose, this is what we call celebration, and you'll be able to choose a pack of or a free stamp set. Either way, either one you get that choice, and we'll go over that later. So see, I can even put that like that if I wanted, but I think that would look prettier. So I'm going to put this one on here. So we'll have a couple of these, and then the rest of them I'm just going to do with all the flowers. Okay, so make sure if you haven't made any comments, make sure you leave comments, because your name will go into a drawing for a kit, and then I'll probably do a drawing and someone will receive these cards as well. All right, so there's that one. Let's see what else. We'll do one more, and then I'll come back with the finished cards and show you. All right, so there we go. So there's our cards. I'll finish these up, and I'll be back in just a minute with the finished cards, and I'll show you how we put those together as well. All right, I am back with the cards. I've got everything completed except for two, and I just want to show you. I'm going to go ahead and stamp these using our black ink, and we're going to make these both birthday stamps, and we're using our Label Me Fancy Punch, and that comes in the kit that I guess you want to call it a kit that I showed you earlier. Okay, so, and then when we get done, I'll show you the cards that I've completed, and I'm also using the punch that was in that package that I talked about earlier as well. So let's go ahead and punch this out, and this again is our Label Me Fancy Punch, and all you do is push your paper in, and you want to line it up to where it's straight, and then just push down and it pops out. Now this one also makes a little slit, so if you want to make some type of a gift package or something. Now sometimes if the cardstock's a little bit too long, you just need to trim it. So we'll trim this one off, and then we're going to slide this in this way, and it's a little bit, still a little bit too long, so I'm going to trim a little bit more off. And we'll push this in one more time, and we'll get that straight. And give me 1 second. I think that looks pretty good. We'll punch that out. Okay. Now let's go ahead and attach these, and then I'll show you the other finished card. And then you will be done. And that the package information, I will list that again, and as well as the dimensions of the cardstock and all of that as well. Okay, now one of the things that we do like to do in the stamping and crafting world is we like to use our adhesive dots, and these are little foam dots that, well, octagons that you we like to attach them to the back of our sentiments or any part of the card, but for the most part sentiments, because we want to pop it up and give it some dimension. All right, so this is my rich raspberry card base with the grainy apple green. So I'm going to go ahead and apply my adhesive. And I went ahead and layered that on the square, which I had showed you earlier. So this one, we're going to go ahead and put it right in the center of our card. Now, I just eyeball it. I don't get real fancy. I just kind of eyeball and make sure it's straight. And sometimes the paper can be a little deceiving. But I don't worry about it being perfect, because when you send it to somebody, they're going to be they're going to be in shock that you made this card, that it's handmade. So they're not even going to be looking at if there's any mistakes. So we're going to put this little happy birthday right in the center. And now we have other ways that we can dress this up, but we're just going to try to keep this at the minimum. So, so you can see that it is very easy. And then I'll show you some stepped up, what we call a stepped up version. All right, so this is our shaded spruce cardstock on the back of this, and this one we're going to place on a piece of the Whisper White, and I'm going to place that right there. And then we're going to add the birthday sentiment to this one as well, and we're going to place that right in the center as well. Okay, so there's the two cards where you're using different colored cardstock with different bases and black for your sentiment. All right, now let me show you the cards that I went ahead and did in advance. Let me put those off to the side. All right, so here we have the Granny Apple Green, and again, this one, you can see it's on a white card mat, and then it opens like that, and then in here you would insert a piece of Whisper White cardstock so that you could write your message. All right, so there's one, and now here's one where I did step this one up. I did two things. One, I tied it with some coordinating ribbon. This is Blackberry Bliss, and then I took the punch and I punched out a piece of the cardstock that cord, and then all you do is cut it in half long ways, and then you adhere it to the back of your sentiment so it looks like it's it's made to go like that. All right, and then this is one that opens like that. All right, so there's that one. And then here's another one where I did the happy birthday with a circle, and this one is what we call, or I call, what we call a cheater bow. And this is one where you don't wrap your ribbon all the way around. You just wrap it underneath and tuck it, and then you take a little piece and tuck it under here and tie a knot. So it's very simple. All right, so there's another one. And then here we get into colored ink. So this has got the coordinating Granny Apple Green ink with the side of the paper. Here's one on the shaded spruce right here. The mat is shaded spruce. This is Granny Apple. And then I'm pulling in the rich raspberry from the flowers on that one. And then this one is the rich raspberry card base with the white mat. And then we did a thinking of you and cut that out in the 1 3/4 circle punch. Here's your Granny Apple Green again, and we did that sentiment in Granny Apple Green as well. I'll get that a little closer. And we have a rich raspberry thinking of you. So see how it makes a difference of what the cards look like just by putting the different colors on them? So see how many cards you can get? Look at, okay, so here's another one. This is the cheater bow, I think is what I did. No, this is not. We just wrapped this one. And that again is stamped with our Granny Apple Green. And then we brought in the two that we stamped black. So we've made 2, 3, let's see how many we made. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We made 12 cards. So there you go. Very easy way that you can make very simple cards, but they look like, to me, they're beautiful. They look like you put a lot of work into them, but they weren't really that hard to do. And there's that package of cardstock with the punch and the Happy Thoughts stamp set that you can purchase for $62. And it does come with the punch here, the Fancy Me label punch. And because it's over $50, then you can choose this paper for free or the other types of pattern paper, and then you would be able to make cards just like this with cutting your paper the way that I've showed you. So I hope this helps you, and I hope you've enjoyed this. I got a gnat flying around. Thank you for watching this, and come back again. I'll be posting some other items. I'll also post the link for my shopping store, and you also want to make sure that you use the host code that I have set up just for Amy so that she'll get credit for everything that you purchase. If you have any questions, you can message me or leave a message in our group page here, and I'll respond to you as soon as I can. All right, thank you, and I'll see you again soon.